Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Let's see. We're probably going to push this out tonight. Well, that's okay. We'll move this down later. So, everybody say what's up in the chat as you're joining here. Obviously, tonight we're going to be listening to Donald Trump's presidential address. A lot of speculation about what's going to happen tonight. It's probably the most anticipated presidential address of his term, largely because people are concerned about accusations of election fraud. Let me thank a couple people real quick that sent super chats right off the bat, though. Drew, Drew, let's frickin' go. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you. And Amanda, thank you for the contribution. Says officially not a chud. Officially not a chud. I'm baptizing you into anti-chudhood. Scoozy, thank you for being a member for 16 months. Let's go. So this is the concern tonight. We are 30 minutes out from this. There's going to be MAGA people in here, so get ready for that. But I imagine you guys will flood them out tonight, so we'll see. But a lot of concern about what he's going to say. A lot of speculation. I've heard things about claims maybe Maduro is going to come out. He's going to claim Maduro admitted information about, elections. I think he's going to attempt to delegitimize elected officials. He's going to claim that certain elections were not legitimate, therefore they're not legitimate. He's going to claim a bunch of stuff about 2020. Again, I just want to remind people before we even start, this has been litigated, audited, time and time again. There is no evidence that the 2020 election was stolen. That is absolutely absurd at this point to be claiming that. He will not let it go. That's a major reason why. But they're also trying to lay the groundwork for what we all know is going to be an attempt to interfere with the midterms. And I think that's what people fear most. Less about his ego, because that's part of it, but more about what the strategy is going forward in terms of these upcoming elections. Alicia, thank you for the $10 super chat. Let's go. Amanda, get us through this bullshit. I'm going to try my best. I'm feeling kind of... I don't want to be here as much as you don't, but it is what it is. Amanda, thank you so much. I appreciate the support, though, seriously. And Brown Eyed Girl, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your brilliance and humanity, Adam. Thank you, Brown Eyed Girl. I appreciate your support. I really do. Support is one thing that, believe me, there's plenty of times over the last couple months where I was like, damn, I really don't want to do this anymore. Just going to detention centers and the stuff that I've been doing over the last 6 months has been really depressing, but seeing what this administration is doing in real time, watching the, results of this administration in real time, the suffering in real time, talking to families one-on-one, both on camera and off camera, mostly off camera, about, what they've gone through. You guys have seen some of it. You've seen, for instance, Martine Soto's wife, in New Jersey. That's an example of a wife who spoke to me about some of the things her husband went through. He was one of the lead. People on the hunger strike there that started that whole thing. But I've talked to countless families, brothers, sisters, uncles, cousins, wives, husbands of people who have been taken by ICE, and consistently it is some kind of story about how they were brutalized, right? They were on their way to get diapers and they were tackled in the parking lot, head smack, on and on and on. And that stuff gets hard to hear after a while, but it is happening and we can't turn away, right? We need to pay more attention than we have ever paid. But I understand that it is taxing, and it has been for me as well. So I appreciate everybody in here. I'm going to let you know that tonight I am not going to pause what he says. I don't imagine this is going to be, crazy long or anything. I don't think it's going to be, but I'm going to play the entire thing without pausing and addressing, only because I think it's going to be so outlandish that it's not going to be fitting for me to be pausing it and stuff, because I'll be doing that every 10 seconds. Person in the chat said Antifa is patriotic. Kids don't smoke crack. What are you talking about? What does that have to do with that? I don't understand. You don't know what Antifa is, clearly. Okay. Illusion, thank you so much. The answer to that question is I'm not really sure. It depends on how they try and do it. You know, I think I think we'll know more hopefully tonight, maybe, in a couple of weeks, but it depends on what they're going to do specifically. I think there are avenues, but the problem is that it's going to require state officials, elected officials in these states to stand up to the federal government. It's not going to, I mean, we the people, I don't know what we can do specifically other than the obvious, but it's going to require governors, to stand up and do something about it. Siphoned Hero, thank you so much. Yes, I reported on that already, Siphon. So it's actually on my Instagram and my TikTok, and I posted a video on it here too. If you guys don't know what's being referred to there, Sebastian Guerrero, who was murdered in Biddeford, Maine by an ICE agent, actually contacted his ex-wife before he contacted anyone else to try and get his ex-wife to vouch for him. Now, when you hear the things she has to say, you're like, wow, well, the audacity, or shall I say caucasity, to contact your ex-wife. Well, she did the exact opposite, and she's exposing him. She says that she's contacted superiors in the past and said that he shouldn't own firearms because he has deep mental health issues. She also told him to his face that she said that he had a very calm demeanor when he contacted her, and said that the death was justified, the murder was justified. And she said, no, I saw the video, and he at no time was trying to run you down with the vehicle, which is what he tried to claim. She also says the most obvious and the thing people expected to hear is that he was abusive, right? These chuds, these ICE agent chuds, are absolutely terrible to their wives, right? If they have one. Don't recommend. I don't care what you say, right? You're in here watching me, which means you definitely care what I have to say. Otherwise, you wouldn't bother, right? Doesn't make any sense, chuds. Doesn't make any sense for you to be in here and then say you don't care what I'm saying, right? That's kind of stupid. That's like watching all 6 seasons of Breaking Bad and saying, I hate this show on the last episode. Doesn't make any sense, chuds. Noob Investor says, how is this bullshit allowed on here? Because it's the truth. That's why. But why do they always have their favorite basketball player as their PFP? You ever notice that? MAGA loves to admire other men who are athletic and like accomplish things in life. MAGA loves that, right? Like, because it's I don't know if it's like their dream or something. They want to end up being an NBA basketball player, or maybe it's just because they're short. Maybe it's just a dream of being tall. Maybe it's a dream of being able to reach the top of the refrigerator where mom puts the snacks. Whatever the case is, it's pathetic. Italia Rose says Trump is the GOAT. Yeah, I'm not even going to address that. That's just idiotic. No, Antifa simply means to be anti-fascist, no matter what the federal government says. Now, before we move into what Donald Trump said, I want to play something that I think everyone in here needs to hear. If you haven't heard it yet, Stephen Miller gave a very disturbing speech today. And I want you guys to hear just a snippet of it.
And the violent leftists, for these deep-seated reasons, going back to the earliest wisdom taught to us in the Bible, about coveting. And I'm not talking about rich versus poor. I'm talking about a much deeper kind of coveting. Coveting people who are morally superior, who are superior in the simple, truthful way they live their lives. People that they look at who are happy and ordered and peaceful and contributing to their communities. That burns an ember in them, and that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed. And you might say, again, you're describing a future that seems impossible to conceive of. When it comes to preventing these horrors, it is the burden and the duty of good people of all walks of life to understand that you will always be accused of raising the alarm too loudly. If you wait until the point where the worst outcome is so obvious that no one can deny it, you've already lost the battle. That's the fundamental point. If you say, I will not raise this alarm until the threat is so present and so clear and so obvious and so imminent that none can deny it, it's already too late. It's already too late. I would rather prevent a threat from occurring and be accused for the rest of my life of having falsely raised the alarm, knowing in myself that I was right, than for fear of being judged having waited too long until the point of no return has been crossed. The good news is that we are far away from the point of no return. So all of us should organize together and work together for the good and the benefit of all the people in our societies, of all walks of life, of all persuasions, to deliver for them what they are justly entitled to, which is to live with safety, with fundamental human dignity, and with the ability to live in peace and harmony with their families and neighbors. Thank you all, and God.
Now hold on.
Vote for the right.
Well, the Constitution is more. Now, let me see. Should I play the entire thing? Well, I want you guys to listen to this part, okay? Let's just listen to the part that directly addresses the left. And you guys know, I've said for a long time, that if they get elected again, they're coming for leftist ideology. They're coming for leftism. And again, that includes Democrats. They do not care. I want you guys to hear this. It is very triggering. It's very alarming. It is going to scare you potentially. But this will substantiate what we've been talking about. They're saying it pretty straightforward now.
Taken the necessary and essential action. We have taken the necessary and essential action of formally recognizing left-wing violence as a form of political terrorism that is a direct threat to our national security and the survival of our Republican form of government, that directs, for the first time in American history, all of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies to work together to disrupt, identify, defund, debank, arrest, and prosecute these political terrorists that are operating in our country. It's very important to understand that left-wing political terrorism seeks as its ultimate end the overthrow of our system and form of government. Left-wing terrorism always ends in bloodshed, misery, and suffering. It only can travel in one direction. There's no point at which the left-wing terrorist is satisfied with his gains and ceases progressing. Inevitably, left to run its course, it always becomes a gulag. It always becomes the mass imprisonment of political enemies, the stripping of their rights and freedoms, inflicting immense pain, humiliation, suffering. It's not a coincidence that when you look at these violent Antifa demonstrations, you see any photograph of those who were assembled. To be blunt, not one of the people that is demonstrating looks like a normal person. Not one looks normal. They're all deformed in some way, in their appearance, in their dress, in their mannerism.
First.
Now, let's just be clear. This guy looks like a penis. Let's just be really straightforward here. Stephen Miller looks like an exposed wiener popping out of someone's zipper. For him to say that every leftist Antifa person is deformed, I mean, you're kidding, right? But again, we can laugh about that, but the truth is, folks, they're coming. They're coming. I wish the rest of the country understood the weight of these midterms and how important they are to the future of this country, regardless of your political affiliation. If these people have a successful midterm, by any means necessary in their mind, we are in big trouble. So I'm just letting you know. Like, they are absolutely going to put us in jail for simply disagreeing with them, for simply dissenting. And you will still have MAGA chuds think that it's a good thing. You will still have MAGA chuds think this is good. Same guys that care about the Constitution or claim to care about the Constitution, which clearly we know they don't. But look, folks, it's happening. It is absolutely happening. I just want to play this beginning part for everybody. Oh, wait, one more second. Let me see if I can pull this other part up. Maybe I don't have to play that one.
And the violent leftists, for these deep-seated reasons, going back to the earliest wisdom taught to us in the Bible about coveting. And I'm not talking about rich versus poor. I'm talking about a much deeper kind of coveting. Coveting people who are morally superior, who are superior in the simple, truthful way they live their lives. People that they look at who are happy and ordered and peaceful and contributing to the communities. That burns an ember in them, and that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed. And you might say, again, you're describing a future that seems impossible to conceive of. When it comes to preventing these horrors, it is the burden and the duty of good people of all walks of life to understand that you will always be accused of raising the alarm too loudly. If you wait until the point where the worst outcome is so obvious that no one can deny it, you've already lost the battle. That's the fundamental point. If you say...
So what he's saying is we can't prove it right now. We can't substantiate these claims that there's this organized movement to dismantle our way of life. But if we wait until the moment that we can prove it, then it's already too late. So we're going to move forward with the idea that these people are domestic terrorists, and we're going to treat them as such. Unbelievable. It is unbelievable to think about what the consequences could be for tax-paying American citizens who have never broken the law simply because of their ideological commitment, depending on how these midterms turn out. It is terrifying. Terrifying. When I heard this today, I said, this is it. They're just outright admitting it. They're coming. He called for a global for a global crackdown on leftism, not just within the United States, a global crackdown. Dean Johnson, you can think I'm a bad person all you want, all right? History will tell the story, not you.
Then those institutions cannot and will not succeed. So here in the United States, for example, we saw in the recent past clear threats of violence against our Supreme Court to try to shape how they rule on upcoming decisions. The leftist does this with the full desire, intent, and understanding that the threat of violence against a public figure or their family is meant to cow them into behaving or acting or conducting themselves differently.
And if you're just joining, we are going to be playing Donald Trump's address to the nation here in about 10 minutes. We're just listening to this speech that Stephen Miller gave today, warning of left-wing political violence and saying that we need to, he called for a global crackdown on leftism.
One of the hallmarks, it is easy to dismiss what I'm saying and to say, surely it cannot be that bad, it cannot be that dire. But again, I point to the examples in our own country where, for example, our Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which has been duly statutory authorized to carry out routine enforcement of immigration law has been subjected to an over 8,000 increase.
Let me be super clear, just for the MAGA chuds that may not understand this concept. I in no way am insinuating anyone's going to lay down on the left. If they do this, you will go the way of the Confederacy. You will lose like they did. I'm making people aware of this. I'm not saying people are going to lay down. Is there going to be a lot of people hurt in the process potentially? Yes. Going to people put in prison for their political opinions? Yes. Yep. Outspoken people are going to prison. 100%. They're going to eliminate high-profile people. Anyone on social media they feel is spreading this leftist ideology, and then they're going to start going after people who absorb it. You're just regular people. Does your neighbor ever talk about communism? I said this before the election. I talked about how you're by 2 years in, you're probably going to see flags. I mean, not flags, signs on subway tunnels that state, call this number if your neighbor has ever tried to, discuss communism with it. Or do you think your neighbor is a communist or Marxist? Call this number now. Does your neighbor's behavior concern you? Has your neighbor said concerning things about the president? Call this number now. This is all attached to what's going to be discussed tonight. It's a takeover. It's a coup. I don't know why people are surprised. I mean, they tried it before. Just because they failed doesn't mean that it was any less of an attempt. And they allowed this guy to get elected again. So, did anyone think they weren't going to do this again differently? Attempt to be more successful? Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. Not surprised at all. But at the end of the day, they will lose. And they will end up exactly like their relatives did. And that will be the end of it. Because fascists always lose. So I would highly recommend they respect democracy. I would highly recommend they respect the First Amendment. I would highly recommend they respect people's right to an ideology of their choosing. And that if they infringe on those rights, they understand their consequences will follow.
8,000% increase in violent assaults. These are not one-off episodes. This is repeat.
Pamela, thank you so much, Pamela. Appreciate you, Pamela.
Systemic, organized, funded insurrection and armed resistance against the federal government. There was a sniper from a sniper's nest who, using an assault rifle, tried to shoot ICE officers in Dallas, Texas.
We could go.
These are the episodes.
This is the thing I hate that MAGA does. They bring up these like examples of people on the left committing acts of violence, but ignore the fact that the right has been overwhelmingly responsible. Overwhelmingly responsible for political violence over the last 50 years. There are a ton of studies on this. You can go look it up. I've debated this topic numerous times as of recently because people keep bringing up Antifa because of the directive by Donald Trump. And overwhelmingly, the right is the main perpetrator when it comes to political violence. Yes, 8 minutes.
That we're talking about, where we have had repeated, direct, violent attacks on federal law enforcement in order to veto the ballot box with violence. And the leftist justifies this violence to himself by saying that they alone are the arbiters of what is right or wrong.
Guys, you don't need to worry. I have the Trump thing up right here in front of me, so as soon as he goes live, we will switch right over.
The law, not history, not civilization, not public opinion, and certainly not God. The leftist assumes for himself judge, jury, executioner.
Where does the arrogance come from? Where does the arrogance come from?
But let's not pretend for a moment that these radical leftists, these terrorists, are operating from a place of sincere political conviction. Sure, there are plenty of useful idiots that they use who may believe these discredited ideologies. The leftist is fundamentally motivated by envy, by hatred.
I do pretty much everything on my phone. Shopping,
by hatred. One thing I am not of any right-wing chud is envious.
Jealousy. The leftist is fundamentally motivated by envy, by hatred, by jealousy. The leftist looks at what is beautiful and what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy and hatred. The leftist looks at a perfect family with the perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids that goes to church every Sunday and is filled with a feeling of inadequacy and jealousy, and they covet, and they turn those emotions ultimately into a desire to subjugate, to oppress, and to inflict pain and suffering. It's not a coincidence that when you look at these violent Antifa demonstrations, you see any photograph of those who were assembled. To be blunt, not one of the people that is demonstrating looks like a normal person. Not one looks normal. They're all deformed in some way in their appearance, in their dress, in their mannerism. Why is that? Why? If you look at two photographs and you see a normal American street, you see an Antifa protest. Why do the people that are violently demonstrating, why is there not one normal-looking person among them? Every one of them, through the course of their life and their decisions, has scarred their body and their appearance in many different ways.
Now, hold on, guys. Listen to the guy saying this real quick, right? This is the guy currently making that statement about one's appearance, which is absolutely the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, my God. There's so many people I got to show this to that probably haven't seen this. He clearly hasn't seen. This is the guy saying this right now, folks. This is the man talking about one's appearance. Are we being serious right now? They're deformed in some way. Brother, are you kidding, brother? Like, are we kidding right now? What the is he talking about? What is he talking about? Is this guy serious? Listen, if Stephen Miller's mirror is for sale, can I buy it? I want to be that fucking arrogant. I mean, really. I really want to believe that other people are the weird ones. What a delusional nut. Holy moly. All right, we got to pull Trump up now, although he is late pretty regularly. But he could be on time. We are T-minus 3 minutes. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, folks, take this in stride. I just want to repeat that. Do not panic about what is said here. You could hear some really disturbing stuff tonight. Don't panic. At the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen going forward for them to be successful. I am hoping that enough people would be in opposition to any attempt, but we'll see. Do you think the rumors are accurate? So I traced it back to a Washington Examiner article. I don't know how accurate some of it is. I do think, though, he's going to make claims about that election. I'd be shocked if he doesn't bring up anything about the 2020 election. I do think it's related to that, and I do believe that this speech is an attempt to lay the groundwork for what we all know is coming in the midterms. But do I know specifically what he's going to say? No. What are some of the things people are speculating? Well, there's speculation that he's going to use Maduro, former Venezuelan president Maduro, to try and admit that there was outside influence, blaming China specifically. I think that's probably the most common common one, but whatever it is, it's not true. It's completely made up, and whatever proof he provides tonight is not going to be the truth. So whatever it is, I really don't care. We are 2 minutes out. Guys, I would really appreciate... I don't have a gifting goal up. Well, if you want to support the live, you can on Venmo. If you guys do want to support me, I guess I'll put a goal up here. If you want to support me, I would appreciate it. And yeah, I'm here to watch it with you because I know a lot of you don't want to watch it, but I do think it is important that we do watch it. And so that's why we're here. Roy, I'm not lying to anyone. You can't name a single thing that I've lied about. That's why you don't like me, because I constantly tell the truth, and that bothers you. I don't know, Christopher, but that is some of the speculation. Attempting to delegitimize them, but I don't know. I think it's very possible. This man loves it when everyone's waiting on him. Yes, he does it deliberately. We'll see how late he is today. I don't think he's going to be that late today, though. You know. Everything out of your mouth is a lie. Name one thing specific, Ricky. Give me one specific example before Trump comes on here. Give me one specific thing that I've lied about, Ricky. Can you do it, Rick? I don't think so. I don't think you can, Ricky. You definitely can't. Triple seven, thank you for the $5 super chat, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting. I appreciate it. I'm hanging in there. Listen, I might have a drink or two. I don't know. Depending on how this goes. I don't know. If you guys like see me grab my cup more and more and more, it means I'm stressed out. He'll mention Obama or Biden. He's going to mention Biden multiple times. If you want to do an over-under about how many times he mentions Biden, I mean, I'm willing to do that. If you guys want to do that in the chat, over-under, how many times does he mention Biden tonight? Oh, my God, he's going to mention him a lot. He's going to mention him a lot, dude. He is going to mention him a lot. I don't blame you, brother. Do whatever you need. If you need libations, do your libations. Here we go, folks.
Good evening. Before we begin, I'm proud to report that our country is safer, stronger, and far wealthier than it has ever been before. We are doing great. Less than 2 years ago, we inherited an economic and social disaster. After the worst inflation in 48 years, the wide open borders with millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, including criminals of all types, and 11,888 murders, many of whom killed more than one person. We had transgender for everybody, men and women sports, crime ravaging our cities, and the whole world was laughing at us as a nation, but not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world. America is respected like we have never been respected before. We have more money being invested in the United States than at any time in the history of our country. More Americans are working today than ever before. This week it was announced that inflation saw the largest monthly decline in more than 6 years. Just happened. It was just given out. The media reported it, and we accept it. The best in 6 years. The tax cuts in our great, big, beautiful bill are saving hardworking families thousands and thousands of dollars, like with the provisions, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, along with the interest deduction on a loan used to purchase a car, but only if that car is made in America, and a 100% expensing for our job-creating businesses. Our stock markets are at their highest point in many years, but we can actually say of all time. And your 401ks, pensions, and retirement accounts are setting records every single day, the highest in history. For years, we paid the highest price for prescription drugs anywhere in the world. Now we pay the lowest price under my most favored nation's policy, because I was able to get the rest of the world and the pharmaceutical companies to act responsibly. Drug prices are coming down by 70, 80, and 90%. TrumpRx.gov, this will ultimately reduce the cost of health care. You have to go to TrumpRx.gov and take advantage of it. But the cost of health care is coming way down because of what we've done with prescription drugs. And with Trump accounts, every child in America now has access to a tax-free investment account to save for their future. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested, put in by companies and individuals to take care of our children so that at age 18, they will have potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in their account, and they'll get off to a great start in life. So for that, go to TrumpAccounts.gov and sign up your child or any child who'd like to sign up. Our previously wide open borders have been transformed into the most secure borders in the history of our country, with 0 illegal aliens being admitted to the United States in the past 14 months. That is 0. Nobody thought it was possible. We had the worst border in the history of our country, and now we have the best. Crime is plummeting nationwide, with the murder rate at its lowest level since 1900, or more than 125 years ago. We're making a record investment in our armed forces, and we have the strongest and most powerful military by far anywhere in the world. I built it during my first term, and unfortunately, we're forced to use it now. We won in Venezuela, which is now working with us to produce millions and millions of barrels of oil. We are likewise winning big in Iran, and you will see the fruits of that labor very, very shortly. America is back and doing really well, but we still have a major challenge that must be urgently addressed, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections. You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. For many years, I've called for bold, swift, and decisive action to protect the integrity of America's elections. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure, one where cheating and interference are not just difficult, but virtually impossible. Unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard. Tonight, I'm announcing the immediate declassification and release of critical intelligence revealing shocking vulnerabilities in our election infrastructure. This evidence shows that the election system we have dangerously exposes and really exposes like levels never thought possible to hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. Just as disturbingly, this vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people, our beautiful, our great American people. But that all changes right now. The documents we will release starting tonight have been gathered by the White House Government Transparency Task Force, a great group of people, along with the staff of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board, supported by our top intelligence agency chiefs, who have all personally reviewed the findings. We are presenting this evening and fully confirmed their authenticity. You can see these documents for yourself at whitehouse.gov. That's whitehouse.gov.
You gonna tell us what they are?
Go check it out.
Dumbass.
Our purpose in disclosing this information is not to weaken confidence in election, but to earn that confidence by confronting vulnerabilities and correcting them very, very quickly. And that's what we're doing. The documents cover 5 major areas of concern. First, they show that over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files. That information includes names, addresses, phone numbers, political party preferences, and other sensitive data that would be needed to register to vote and engage in other nefarious activities, which is exactly what was happening. This data loss presents an unprecedented election security nightmare. The intelligence even shows that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country, a standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job, and they did everything possible to do exactly that. going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him.
This is
as
peak
many
paranoia.
as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest
thank you for the
military
gifted one.
anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere
Appreciate
in the
you,
world.
bro.
These
Katie,
are
thank you for
exact
being a member
quotes
for
from
15
the
months.
CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything
bad.
was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had,
Yikes.
quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press.
This is bullshit.
Other
This is all
officials who
bullshit.
witnessed such efforts perceived the motivations to be blatantly political. Recently, we found significant numbers of burn bags in formation, and this is a group of bags that were used to destroy
Bullshit.
information given by President Barack Hussein Obama to be burned. It was supposed to be burned. These bags were supposed to be at a different level by different people, incinerated and checked, but it never happened. Maybe we got lucky. We believe this was not done
And you found
on
it?
purpose, but rather through gross incompetence of
Yeah,
the people
right.
that was supposed to burn the
Yeah,
bag.
right.
But the findings are stunning. Today, I'm asking the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the CIA to investigate how and why such crucial information was hidden, to fire those involved in the cover-up, and to file criminal charges, if appropriate, against these people. Yet
Do it.
concealing China's meddling was only the beginning. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. Dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that. Tonight, we're publishing a series of previously classified U.S. intelligence community assessments and other reports proving that our government has long known these machines are extremely exposed to attack. As one assessment states, we judge that the United States adversaries, including at a minimum Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. That's unquote, but that's some statement, isn't it? Made by supposedly great patriots of our country. The document goes on to further state that, quote, we assess that centralized election-related data repositories, such as voter registration databases, poll books, and other official election websites, are most vulnerable to exploitation, and adversaries could use this access to these systems to disrupt election processes within the United States of America. Tonight we're releasing all of those findings and spanning from January 2020 to June 2026.
Jen, thank
This
you,
is
Jen.
a cyber threat aimed at the very heart of our democracy. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results on these terrible machines. Today we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot to do a big number in favor of the corrupt Maduro regime in Venezuela.
There we
And
go.
that's exactly what happened,
Oh, my
conspiring
God.
to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020, and that's what they did. This reporting included precise details about methods to regime develop to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could not be detected even with an audit, no matter how deep they went. This intelligence underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own system can never, ever be hacked or compromised like it was in the past. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up. Among the disclosures tonight are FBI files detailing evidence of alleged fraud by a large-scale voter registration operation in Michigan. In 2020, Michigan State Police raided a Democrat Get Out the Vote organization, corrupt group in Muskegon. And we're so concerned by what they found. They were just so concerned, they couldn't believe it actually, that they contacted the FBI in Detroit. The documents state that some canvassers admitted to FBI agents that they signed voter registration forms in other people's names.
No.
Submitted fraudulent registration for people who did not exist.
No.
And received gift cards tied to their
What's their
number
names?
of applications that they produced. In other words, it was pay, play, and cheat.
Who paid them?
The FBI agents working on the case believe that crimes were committed, yet the Biden Department of Justice slow-walked the investigation and killed it. Tonight, I'm asking the FBI director to ensure that the matter is fully investigated and to work with the Department of Justice to prosecute those responsible for any crimes. Finally, to reveal just how vulnerable our elections continue to be, we are releasing the results of a stunning investigation by the Department of Homeland Security. According to the DHS review, state voter rolls and public records,
This is bad, folks.
they identified approximately 278,000 non-citizens who are registered to vote in federal elections. Since Democrat states refuse to share their voter files, the real number is actually much higher than that. Yet, even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote. Put together, these disclosures reveal an election system so broken and so vulnerable that no one can possibly defend it. It is not defensible. Hundreds of millions of U.S. voter files are in the hands of foreign governments. Our machines and ballot counting systems are exposed to hacking and manipulation and corruption. China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating
Holy
aimlessly
shit.
through the mail. As one example of the insanity, California's recent election for mayor of LA and governor was held on June 2nd, a long time ago, but it was just completed a few days ago on July 10th. Think of that, much more than 1 month. Took a month to count the votes. I wonder what they were doing. This is worse than any third world country. There's no third world country that has elections like we have. In a rare move, NBC and ABC Fake News have both said that they would not cover this speech. They knew what it was about because of the fact that they don't like the topic, because they
You're a
know
liar.
how corrupt our system is and they don't want to reveal it. They and others in the media are part of a plot. They want to continue this fraud for whatever reason. They want to keep it going. They want to protect the radical left. They can't have a great country, and that's true. You can't have a great country without free and fair elections. Fraud like this should mean a revocation of their licenses.
Oh, my
They
God.
use our public multi-billion-dollar in value airways for absolutely no money. They pay nothing. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting. They pay nothing for multi-billion-dollar assets. Great damage has been done to our country. Our elections were left vulnerable to being rigged and stolen, and the trust of the American people was lost. This cannot be allowed to continue. Every American, whether you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, or otherwise, should be able to agree that we deserve the most secure, honest, and fair election system anywhere in the world. Secure elections should be a partisan, we should be together, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, everybody, and it should not be a partisan issue. It should cause to unite us, not to divide us. This should be a cause. We should be united, not divided. In light of the brand new and irrefutable information I have revealed tonight, my administration is in the process of notifying the states whose election data was compromised by the People's Republic of China and many others. We will be working closely to mitigate any harm, and we're taking swift action to ensure that sensitive voter data is better protected so we can never be bought, we can never be hacked, and we can never watch a stolen election again. Tomorrow, the Secretary of Homeland Security will hold a briefing to outline his department's recent work confirming cyber vulnerabilities in our electronic voting systems. They are bad. We're in the process of informing governors, senators, and members of Congress of potential issues in their states. If you look at voting today, it's in such bad shape in so many states, and we are committing to fix it. And we're also committing to be working with those states and local jurisdictions to help them fix and patch known technical vulnerabilities before the midterm elections. We have very important elections coming up. We want those elections to be honest.
Yep.
I've also
This is how
ordered
they're gonna do
DHS to notify every state about non-citizens on their voter rolls and direct them to remove all ineligible voters from the lists immediately. But most importantly, addressing this crisis
Now we know
of
why they
election
invaded
security
Venezuela.
demands
the way
that
they
Congress must pass the Save America Act. How easy is that to do unless you want to cheat? The only reason you wouldn't do it is you want to cheat
is all
because your
projection.
policies are so bad and your candidates are so pathetic that you can't get away or can't get elected any other way. This landmark bill requires that all voters must show photo voter ID. How simple is that? Could I have your photo, please? Photo voter ID. All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Are you a citizen of our country, please? And hopefully there will be no corrupt mail-in ballots, which if you watched California and so many other places, mail-in ballots are inherently corrupt. So you would have no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel if you're going away on business or vacation. These reforms are urgently needed to stop the vulnerabilities that I've mentioned. To all Americans, I ask you to pick up your phone tomorrow, call your representatives in the House and Senate, and demand that they pass the Save America Act without delay.
I'll do the opposite.
Together we will restore faith and confidence in our country, and we will be bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military. And God bless America. Thank you very much.
Wow. Well, thought the Maduro thing was going to happen, was right about that. I'm sure we're going to hear more from that. I'm sure that's in these documents. I don't know if Maduro directly is participating in it, but essentially these are newly declassified intelligence and election security documents. There's not really a single definitive fraud file here. So you have foreign influence, Russia, Iran, China. And then obviously you have the election system vulnerabilities. These are the primary ones, voting technology. Of course, there's just no credible information that this is real. And then you have that stuff with Fulton County. I'm going to have to go through all this. Deeply troubling. Godzilla King, thank you for the $5. This is how they're going to do it, folks. So at least we know what their plan is going forward. It's pretty clear how they're going to attempt to try and interfere here, which they're definitely going to do. None of these things he's talking about are real. I mean, look, let's just talk specifically about the Venezuela stuff, which it's funny that he thinks that people would fall for that. Maduro has nothing to lose. He has no reason not to say this is true. So I don't know. I didn't hear him reference specifically that Maduro substantiated what he's saying here, but I'm imagining that's going to be part of it. Maduro has every reason to lie, just like Ghislaine Maxwell. But this is it. Now, here's the thing. In any normal world, what do you guys think would come first? If they had real evidence, let's just break this down for a second, right? If they had real evidence, what do you guys think would come first? An address to the nation or an indictment? If they had real evidence, they would just start with indicting, mass indictments, and then Donald Trump would address those indictments. They don't have the proof to indict anyone, and I doubt anyone's going to be indicted. They're talking about pursuing criminal charges. How come you haven't already done that? These people would already be in handcuffs. They'd already be in handcuffs. They kidnapped Maduro. So the point about Maduro is that Maduro is looking at life in prison for drug trafficking charges. Okay, so Maduro has nothing to lose. So if Donald Trump goes to Maduro and says, hey, I want you to substantiate what I'm saying, that there was Chinese interference, that Venezuela was involved in this conspiracy to steal our elections, he's going to do it. Real evidence, there would be an indictment. Exactly. Indictments would come first. Okay, you would have an investigation, and then people would be indicted. You wouldn't address the nation with that evidence until there was a grand jury. You would never touch it because that's not how it works for any criminal investigation. They don't tell the president to go on television and tell people, hey, we might be indicting you, so they can destroy evidence, so they can get their lies in order. They go arrest them. This is all bullshit. Nobody's going to be arrested as a result of this. And if they are, it's not going to go anywhere. So all we know is that this is the right laying the groundwork for election interference come the midterms. Everyone knows it. And the question becomes, whether you're right or left, are you willing to get rid of your political opponent this way? Do you want to beat your political opponent fair and square? Or are you okay with your political party, the Republican Party, interfering with the midterms? Plain and simple. Freedom, you may think I'm an idiot, but listen, we all know you are the PDF file supporting chud troglodyte, okay, with a room temp IQ. Everyone knows that. Republicans constantly talk about how I'm an idiot, but we all know I'm smarter than you. It's not even a question at this point. But I'm going to turn the phone lines on. And if a Republican would like to get embarrassed in this moment, you most certainly can. I think you probably don't really know how elections work, but that's besides the point. 908-652-3703. I won't go hard on you. Let's hear it. You can also call if you're on my side, but look, what I'm looking for is quick calls right now. If you want to give your take on this, give me a 30-second opinion on what you feel. If you want to comment on this, if you want to get something off your chest, make sure it's YouTube appropriate and tell me what you think. Yes, from the beginning, Babalicious, from the beginning. I mean, I'm talking about this stuff for years, long before Donald Trump got reelected the second time. But yet, MAGA thinks I'm the idiot. Okay. I'm sure China will put out a statement, but it's not really the point, really. I mean, I need to go through let me look at this real quick. Happy Lily, thank you for the $19.99 super chat. Appreciate you, Happy Lily. Let me go to this these files real quick. Election integrity.
Call.
Listen here. Are you a child?
Are you talking to me? No.
I know. Sorry. I'm imitating.
I'm on your
else.
side, man.
I'm imitating someone. You're on my side. You watch me and you don't know who that I'm imitating.
Today's my first day watching.
Are you gonna call me a chud? All right, go ahead. What's up?
Here's the thing that bothers me the most is, 2020. Well, why wouldn't we have, cheated again to keep him out of office this time?
That's
it
right.
Doesn't make any
That's
sense.
right. So you
it
look
makes
at
no sense.
Exactly. Republicans won almost all of the elections, right? They control pretty much everything. So if the left is cheating, how the fuck are you guys in power?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
I would say it went the other way.
Right.
I would say that if there was manipulation, it was to get them in or get him in. That's my take.
Well, that's what it is. Listen, all you have to do is look at everything Republicans have ever said has been projection, right? They talk about trying to overthrow the government. They try and overthrow the government. It's everything they say the left is doing, they're doing. They do it with everything, every single thing. She's going to start wars. They start wars. It doesn't matter what it is. Everything he claims left is going to do, he does.
Exactly. It's like they say, if somebody's worried about their spouse cheating, it's probably because they're a cheater. I mean, that's exactly what's going on. So.
No, but it is funny. It's funny because actually, in fact, it's funny that you say that. I'll play it when you get off here. Thomas Massey actually brought that up. He goes, the problem I have with my Republican colleagues making claims about election fraud is we're in power. So if that's the case, then how are we in power?
Exactly.
We won all these elections. I mean, if they were so good at doing this, then how did we win all these elections? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But thanks for coming up. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
Take care. Yeah, it's because they're the ones doing it. This is all to lay the groundwork, right? So Donald Trump and his goons can interfere with the midterms because we all know there is an inevitable blue wave coming. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Guys, I would appreciate really quick if you would hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. I know there's some people that came over from the TikTok live this morning. You may not be subscribed. It is free to subscribe. You can become a member of the channel, which helps me and helps support the channel, and you get access to members-only videos. A lot of the live streams end up going members-only, and people who are members get access to all those videos. You'll see their names are a different color, and they have a badge next to it. Those are people who have become members of the channel, but you can subscribe for free just by hitting the subscription button. I would appreciate hitting the thumbs up button to help support the live in any way that you possibly can. Let me bring up Massey's comment really quick because it pertains to what this gentleman just said.
But I don't think the problem, is that our elections aren't secure because we control the House, we control the Senate, we control the White House, and in some degree we control the Supreme Court. So I asked my Republican colleagues, why are you complaining about election fraud? We won all the damn elections. The fraud that's going on is we're not holding ourselves to the promises that we made of fiscal responsibility, putting America first, making America healthy. The problem is we're wasting the opportunity that we were given in these elections, that we won all.
So there you go. And that's a Republican. So co-author of the Epstein Transparency Act. How do we know if we are what? So under my name, there should be a thing that says subscribe. You should be able to subscribe. It's somewhere. I don't know. It says subscribe. But if you don't subscribe, you're not going to know when I go live. And I go live pretty much every day on YouTube. If you are a supporter of mine, if you like watching my content, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, you are missing out. Okay? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff over here that we do regularly that you will miss out on. So let me turn the phone lines back on here. If you want to call in, you can from either side, 908-652-3703, and you can give your thoughts on this, 908-652-3703. We know MAGA won't call in because they're just confused. They're waiting for their marching orders. What are they supposed to say specifically? And it will have to be dumbed down for them, so they'll wait for Fox and Friends in the morning. When Fox and Friends comes on tomorrow, they'll know what to say. Did Massey say that tonight? He said that, I think, yesterday. Or I think it was yesterday. I'm annoyed too, but like I was expecting this, so I'm not completely shocked. I mean, I knew that he was going to say some of the stuff, and so I just think that people need to recognize what's coming, and as long as people recognize it, then I'm okay with it because it's inevitable anyway. I'd rather people be prepared, you know. I'd rather people wake up and be prepared to what's happening here. These guys are not just going to allow for the inevitable blue wave. We all know that's coming. Look, I said it back when Donald Trump was doubling down on policies that were polling in the toilet, right? Immigration, deportation policies that are below 40%.
Call from
What did he do?
Russia Philippines.
Most of the time, presidents in those circumstances like to try and tell the American people that they hear them, right? And that they recognize their concern. Not Donald Trump. He doubles down. What's going on?
I was just going to tell you, you are so smart and so great. I'm a boomer, and you're the greatest. You really studied and you're educated. And I'll let you go so you can finish your live. Yeah, I'm more in the live. Okay, we'll see you.
Thank you. Take care. Be well. Appreciate you. If you guys want to call in, you can, 908-652-3703. I'd like to take 10 callers if we can get 10, but MAG is going to shy away from this topic because they don't understand what's going on. Okay, they're stupid. So if you want to call in and you want to talk or just get it off your chest about how ridiculous this is, you most certainly can. Yeah, I can. I actually wrote it down, so I can give you somewhat of a I can tell you what I wrote down. Okay, so Donald Trump basically said, first of all, he started the speech with talking about largest inflation reduction in 6 years. He talked about, and then he quickly pivoted into no trust, no greatness if there's unfair elections. He said every American deserves to know when they cast their vote that it will be counted. So he essentially said there is an immediate declassification of intelligence revealing vulnerabilities in our election system that exposes hacking, exploitation, and foreign interference. He discussed that China is carrying out the largest compromise of election data, 20 million U.S. voter files that would be needed to register to vote, and other nefarious activities. Intelligence shows China has signed a data exploitation unit dedicated to this cause. Members of the deep state actively work to suppress and downplay information about China's interference, and that China engaged in other related election interference activities. They didn't want Donald Trump to be president. The document shows CIA reporting explicitly stated that the CCP was to make him resign or prevent his reelection. A mid-2019 strategy against the United States was to undermine your confidence in the U.S. president. He talked about how great of a president he is and that they're working to try and make you not trust him. Let's see here. The Chinese government wanted the U.S. president to lose the next election. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI states that China's activities manufactured illegal ballots for Joe Biden. They said he recently found burn bags that were used to destroy information that were supposed to be burned to destroy critical information, but I guess they didn't end up burning them, and he said we got lucky. He said there was third set of documents that prove Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, and people within our government knew that. He talked about the involvement of the Venezuela Maduro regime, which Maduro is in U.S. custody right now, so it makes sense why he would reference Venezuela, because he can get Maduro to say whatever he wants. He talked about canvassers. He basically laid out a bunch of accusations with little to no proof, but he claims the proof is on whitehouse.gov. So we're going to go in, and I'm going to go through it all, and I'll probably talk about it in more detail tomorrow morning. Trump Train 769 says fake news. Adam, he just did this. What do you mean fake news? What do you mean fake news? Guys, he's scratching and clawing for some kind of an excuse so he can interfere with the midterms. You all see this, right? Like, I don't have to spell this out for you, right? He's just trying to create some kind of a narrative, right, that they conducted a legitimate investigation to justify what he's about to do. Because if he just says, hey, I don't want Democrats to ever win again because I disagree with them, well, that's going to have consequences.
Call from
Moon.
He doesn't want those consequences. He wants people to believe this is legitimate. And I think not just within the United States, globally. Are you a Trump supporter? You have to turn my live off.
No.
Can you turn my live off, though? Because I can hear myself in the background.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
What's up?
Hey, man, yeah. I just got... Sorry about that. So I just got done listening to this speech, and I just couldn't stand it. So when he talks about voter fraud, I'm African-American, and it's always about, like, Georgia, Milwaukee. It's always about, like, where all black people live at. It's where all the fraud happened. And it just pisses me off, like, literally, and I just can't take it anymore. I never, when I vote, I use mail-in ballot. I live here in Denver, and I've been doing it, I don't know, for the past 4 elections, basically, and I never have any problem. I'm registered to vote. They know who I am, and I just don't understand why these people keep saying that, like, there's been fraud, and it's always, like, only Republicans that vote right, and then if you're a Democrat, your vote somehow is illegitimate, so I don't know, it just pisses me off, and thank you for what you're doing, and yeah, appreciate
well, I appreciate it. Look, this is all very frustrating, and thank you for calling in, and you have a right to be frustrated about the things that Trump is saying. I mean, I am too. I mean, he specifically references Georgia because it was a close battleground, right? And because of the disputes in places like Fulton County, became central to his 2020 claims. But you have every right to be frustrated about the things that Trump says. I think pretty much everybody is at this point. But all I ask is that people wake up, don't panic, and become focused, right? Become organized, right? We need to not panic in this moment. Trump would love for us to all panic, put our heads in the sand, and say, oh my God, I hope nothing bad happens. What we need to do is point out the ridiculous nature of these claims, right? I think that's very important, right? That's step number one. And then educate people, help people understand this is this administration's attempt to lay the groundwork to commit election fraud. That's exactly what they're doing. They're laying the groundwork so they can commit election fraud. Just like everything else they do, it's projection. That is what they're doing. Phones are on 908-652-3703. I mean, I could play Trump again. I've done that before, but I really don't want to replay these claims. I really don't. I'm looking at the website right now, everybody. So you have 4 sections. Vulnerabilities in electronic voting and ballot counting systems. You have China's acquisition and exploitation of American voter data. You have Michigan voter registration investigation. You have non-citizen on-state voter rolls. Ensuring the integrity of our elections is fundamental to preserving trust in American democracy. Following the 2020 presidential election, concerns about potential... Yeah, I'm not even going to bother with this. This is just so stupid. Let's go into the vulnerabilities. So let's see if Donald Trump read this word for word. For years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems. So he's basically going to say that there was a cyber threat aimed at the heart of our democracy, and that the American people were not educated on this. Russia, China, and Iran and North Korea, as well as non-state groups, have the capability to compromise U.S. election infrastructure. Again, this is an accusation. Many people have questioned whether it could actually be possible to electronically manipulate vote totals or change election results. Today, we are releasing documents that show the CIA obtained reporting of a specific plot by the Maduro regime in Venezuela. Folks, I want you to understand this. One of his central pieces of evidence is that the Maduro regime, who is in U.S. custody, understand this, in U.S. custody, and has everything to gain and nothing to lose, participated in a specific plot to do exactly that, conspiring to digitally rig their own country's elections in 2020. This reports include precise details about methods the regime developed to digitally alter vote totals in ways that could be detected could not be detected even with an audit. So even if you conduct an audit, they couldn't be detected. This underscores why we must take urgent action to ensure that our own systems can never be hacked or compromised. What the fuck? This is the stupidest fucking shit ever. So that's not even an accusation of direct involvement. Hold on one second, caller. Members of the deep state in our intelligence agencies work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister meddling. Covering it up from both the president and the American people, U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states had been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information hidden. Again, a very vague claim, going to be very difficult to substantiate. Manny, thank you so much for the $13.99 Canadian super chat. Appreciate you so much. Caller, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, man? I think you're creating this appeal to fear, logical fallacy here. You're speculating as to what is going to be in the evidence that they're going to release today or tonight or whatever the hell they're going to release it.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, but is that the entirety of the details of what he's talking about, or is this just part of it?
No, it's the entirety. So there's like emails here. Let's see. First of all, if you don't know what the evidence, how the fuck do you know that I'm doing that? If you don't know what the evidence is?
I'm just stating that you were speculating prior to reading what you're reading now.
I'm not speculating because it's been litigated. It's been litigated and audited repeatedly. It's not speculation. It's been litigated over 60 times. Yes.
The evidence that he's presenting tonight.
Yes. It's been litigated time and time again. It's been audited and litigated I don't know how many fucking times.
The Chinese connection was not litigated, Adam.
What Chinese connection? What was the Chinese? What was the accusation about China?
He was implying that China was involved in election interference through scare tactics on social media by discrediting his campaign, discrediting
we've known that. That's not new information. We've known that forever. Foreign influence on social media is nothing new. Republicans have repeatedly condoned foreign influence when it favors them. Russia put out tons of conspiracy theories about Hillary Clinton. The Trump administration and Republicans were well aware of these conspiracies. They didn't care. I don't want to hear about foreign influence in terms of social media. But the question is whether or not there was illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files and what they did with that information. That's not been substantiated. Okay? They've not claimed they know what was done specifically with that data. That data was compromised, which I beg to differ, but that data was compromised, and that China assigned a data exploitation unit specifically to this new project. Those are the accusations about China. Okay? And then there's Michigan voter registration investigation. There's a whole bunch of different stuff in here. The point is, this election has been repeatedly litigated. I'm not giving credibility to a guy who has repeatedly lied about this. These people in power are corrupt. They've been caught lying time and time again. Time and time again. And I'm not giving credibility to these ridiculous claims.
Well, the evidence that he said he was going to present, the evidence he said he was going to release has not been released yet. You're just talking based off of what's already been spoken about.
Guy, it's on the website. What the fuck?
It's not on the Whitehouse.gov website.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. The fuck are you
talking about? The one from today.
I'm looking at it. What the fuck
I'm on the website right now.
Yeah.
The last release, Trump administration unleashed from global campaign against radical left terrorism. That's the last release.
Wait.
He has not released the information that he talked about today.
So again, you don't see election integrity, vulnerabilities in electronic vote ballot counting systems, China's acquisition and exploitation of American voter data, Michigan voter registration investigation, non-citizen, non-state voter rolls. You don't see that?
Nope.
Okay, well, I'm looking at it. So I don't give a fuck whether you see it or not. Go watch the speech. He literally said it's available for you to look at today, right now. You're a dumbass. Have a good day.
What?
Telling me it's not on the website. He literally just said it's on the website for you to go look at. I'm looking at it. Guess what? They even have President Trump's address on the top of the webpage. And then underneath, it says vulnerabilities in electronic voting and ballot counting systems. And there is a zip file below it. Below that, it says China's acquisition and exploitation of American voter data. And there's a zip file below that. And then it says Michigan voter registration investigation. And there's a zip file below that. And then it says non-citizens on state voter rolls, which was the last accusation. And there's zip files below that. You're dumb. You can't read. That's not my fault. Jesus Christ. I'm looking at it, goofy. So here we go. So this is Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security has initiated multiple investigations related to allegations of non-citizen voting. They are quite literally claiming that non-citizens were voting again. So what they're trying to do is say that China obtained this data, and this is the data that non-citizens would need to use to vote successfully. But they don't actually prove that non-citizens participated in these elections. So there's a big piece of information missing, which is proof that non-citizens are actually participating. Like, there's just a bunch of claims in here. Russian actors hacked the website of a state board of elections. Well, we were aware of that prior. That's not new information. This is a history of voter registration system breaches. The Trump administration, I mean, everyone's known about this. Russian actors hacked into the computers of a U.S. vendor and supplied software to verify voter registration information. Everyone knew about this already. This was 2016. So they're taking this information, this accusation, and they're trying to claim this is the information they would need. Why isn't this one loading? Let's see. This is the heart of the accusation here, which is China's acquisition and exploitation of American voter data, okay? And in here, you have some emails. So you have 18 states memo. This whole fucking thing is redacted. Am I supposed to actually... 90% of this document is fucking redacted. Wait a second. This is the declassified document I'm supposed to no longer trust my elections? It's all redacted. This is actually laughable. I'm not even kidding. This entire fucking document is redacted. What the fuck? Folks, this is the analysis on U.S. voter registration information from 18 states. Okay? The entire fucking document from July 10th, declassified by counsel to the president, is redacted. Redacted. The redacted voter registration data included the following types of information: voter names, birth dates. Redacted. Some data included detailed historical records of detailed voter ballot and polling records and election donation expenses, as well as redacted voter registration from 18 states. Redacted. Alaska, Connecticut, Florida. Redacted. Maryland. Redacted. Washington, D.C. Blah, blah, blah. Redacted. The North Carolina data contained information for over 8 billion voters. So wait, this is the big gotcha of fucking redacted. I mean, this is laughable. This is actually laughable. This is worse than I thought. This is more laughable than I thought. I'm not even kidding. This is more laughable than I thought. Is anyone looking at this with me? This is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Dude, guys, go to whitehouse.gov/election-integrity. And you're going to have 4 sets of zip files. I mean, it's a joke. It's an actual joke. Now, I'm not saying it's a joke as in it's not serious. It is very serious. It is very serious. But this is not anything that is like, this isn't a serious attempt to address this issue, is the point I'm making. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's just too much to handle. Listen, I'm well aware of what my government is doing, okay? Oh, Lordy, folks. I mean, it's going to be an ugly fucking winter here, and I'm not looking forward to it. I'll tell you right now. I am not looking forward to this. This is going to be... These next 6 months are going to be chaos. Politically. Chaos. We're going to go through some serious growing pains here and find out what the direction of this country is going to be. I haven't gotten a chance to look through all of it yet, so... You see, where is the...
Call from
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, I am a supporter, but I just wondered if you could look into what the files say about Muskegon, Michigan, like he mentioned. Because I live there.
Michigan voter registration investigation?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is, I mean, there's multiple files, but let's see. The FBI in Michigan, so it's a lot of emails, looks like. Just so you're aware, I sent the below message last week. I haven't gotten a response. I'm not really comfortable closing the case at this point. So it's a bunch of emails, it looks like. Again, I don't know. Let's see. Who's this between? It's hard to even tell who these emails are between because they're all redacted. But it's essentially... So here we have... Let's start up here. Federal Bureau of Investigation. To open a full investigation, notify the public corruption unit. So is this the... So the FBI Detroit field office, this is a summary of the PC allegation. The FBI Detroit field office was informed that the Michigan State Police, Michigan Attorney General were investigating allegations of fraudulent voter registrations being submitted. An in-depth summary of the, let's see. Oh, this is about canvassing, I think. Wasn't that the claim he made about Michigan?
I think he said that they were found to be giving out gift cards, and I was a canvasser for Harris, so this was very interesting to me in that city.
I mean, there's a lot of files here. Let me see if I can find that one, though. I'm curious. I think I heard that, too. See, they're all witness interviews. That's largely what this is. It's all witness interviews. So it's people that spoke to the Federal Bureau of Investigation and made statements. Has never heard of a redacted, does not know anyone who works there, has never worked in any job trying to get people to register to vote. Redacted has had issues with identity theft in the past and thinks that perhaps someone who has this information got a job with these companies. The FBI was investigating company based on the allegations that were violated laws. Investigating information from the canvasser contract was read to redacted. SA redacted, initially misread one digit in the SSAN. Then when corrected was confirmed to be the correct information. Redacted is trying to get his life back together and is currently on parole. He has made many mistakes in the past and knows everyone is responsible for what they do. Redacted was released from prison March of 2020. He has never done any work like what the FBI is investigating. The 2020 election was the first time Redacted registered to vote and voted. On December 15th, 2022, Redacted called SA Redacted and said he remembered working for a company for about 1 week in 2020 where he was tasked with finding people registered finding people to register to vote. He could not remember the name of the company nor anyone who worked there. Redacted spoke with his girlfriend who reminded him about the job. Oh, this sounds reliable. Redacted's friend, Redacted, worked for the company and told Redacted he should join him. Redacted said, "You can just make up names on the form and get paid." Redacted was paid by the hour, not make up names on the form. Wait, I'm sorry. Redacted was paid by the hour, not by the signature. He could not remember how he got paid. After about 1 week, Redacted quit the job. Redacted never collected any names. He would just sit in his car the whole shift and would put down a name of a friend or a relative in order to have something to turn in with his clipboard. That is an example of a file, one of the 12 files in this.
Oh my God.
Zip.
How pathetic.
I mean, let's go to another one here, right? So in the fall of 2020, Redacted, who was not married at the time, and went by Redacted, went to Redacted on Redacted and Redacted. People were standing outside an office next door and asked Redacted if she wanted a job. The office was previously an eyeglass store. Redacted went into the office and applied for a job registering people to vote. Redacted was hired the following day. The office was run by a tall, thin, white male with, and then a bunch of redacted stuff. The office, Redacted, previously lived at Redacted, and Redacted later worked in the office but were not working there when Redacted was hired. Redacted's job was to stand outside businesses asking people if they wanted to register to vote. There were over 100 people doing the same job in the area. These people were paid based upon how many completed registrations they submitted each day, but Redacted couldn't recall how much she was paid per registration. The white male told employees that the organization was huge and had operations in other states. He also said employees who did the best, meaning turned in the most voter registration applications, could travel to other states to work. Redacted and Redacted also drove employees to their locations and collected registration applications themselves. Once the police executed a search warrant at the office, the employees were told their job assignment was over. Redacted was shown 2 canvasser contracts attached as 1A1316 and 1A12114, confirmed she had filled out both of these forms. Redacted was shown 22 completed voter registration applications attached as similar Hand A. Initially stated that she remembered all the people on the pages. After being told that these applications appeared to be fabricated, Redacted then stated Redacted or Redacted told all of the employees that if they couldn't get enough applications, they should just fill them in. This occurred at a meeting with over 100 employees present. One of the employees asked what this person meant. Redacted couldn't recall if it was redacted or redacted in the front of the group, but whichever it was, picked up the blank application and filled it out with made-up information and said, "This is what I mean." This person, either redacted or redacted, then told them to make sure the information was filled out correctly or they wouldn't get credit for the application. Remember, guys, they're redacting the names we need to know. Redacted was told she needed to submit 7 to 8 applications per shift if working alone and 10 per shift per person if working with another employee. Redacted was paid approximately $800 each payday. The company gave employees debit cards and loaded their pay on the cards each week. Redacted didn't recall if she turned in the same number of applications each time or why she would have received the same pay for different numbers of applications. Redacted was told by Redacted or Redacted to put any number she could think of for Social Security numbers. This is such bullshit. But not to use her own Social Security number or date of birth. Redacted was told by Redacted or Redacted, the names, of course, we should know, she should make up names or use anyone else's name. Redacted would return to the office at the end of her shift, fill in enough blank sheets with made-up people so that she reached her daily quota. Redacted confirmed that she filled out all of the Michigan-issued driver license and Michigan-issued state ID card numbers and personal information sections of the 22 reviewed voter registration applications except for Redacted and Redacted, and Redacted signed, and then Redacted, right, the person being accused here, signed all of the remaining 20 reviewed voter registration applications except, and then a bunch of information redacted. These would have been signed by someone at the office for Redacted before she turned them in. Redacted often helped Redacted fill in the fabricated applications. Redacted told Redacted the forms were sent to the main office, then shredded. So it didn't matter that the names were fabricated. If there were forms that were rejected because they weren't signed sitting around the office, some employees would pick them up, sign them, and turn them in for credit. There were long lines of people at the end of each shift turning in their completed voter registration applications. The white male who ran the office left before the office closed, and he said he was leaving. After he left, Redacted, Redacted, and Redacted ran the office. The white male, when people were instructed to fill out fake applications and was aware it was occurring. Everyone working there was aware it was occurring. Redacted doesn't know if the group was trying to impact the election or they were just personally trying to make money at a job. Other employed by the group were Redacted, blah, blah, blah. There were a couple of black males that were friends of Redacted whom Redacted hired. One was approximately 5'5", and the other was approximately 5'6" and 120 pounds. They always worked together and seemed fishy, in quotes. They were always whispering to each other and didn't really interact with anyone else. Redacted worked for this organization for almost a month. Redacted collected legitimate voter registration applications during this time. Redacted did not fill out any of the sections on the legitimate registration application. So you can see most of these are going to be FBI Michigan witness interviews and people claiming things third party without any actual evidence. But that's their evidence largely with that accusation.
Well, and that's ridiculous because even if they did fill out these fake registrations, that's not saying the people with the fake registrations voted.
Correct. Exactly.
I mean,
that's why I said there's nothing to tie. That's why I said before the accusation, like he's missing the part in between, which is you would have to prove these people voted. Right. They're not actually providing that these people actually voted. What they're claiming, even in the case of like these data breaches, that they obtained this information, but did they participate in the election? He's saying this is the information they would need to participate. Again, it's a lame duck in my opinion, but I got to look through it more thoroughly. But from what I'm seeing right here, it's really pretty much a lame duck. But again, Republicans don't need much, right? They just want something to be able to go off of when they do what they do, because they don't want it to appear to the rest of the world that this is a coup, right? Because God knows what kind of interference there would be at that point, right? If you're overthrowing our democracy, and who knows what would happen. So they need they need some kind of groundwork to work off of so they can interfere with the midterms. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, and I just want to tell everybody that's listening, I worked the election in 2020. I was a poll worker because it was during COVID, and I was afraid that all the, nice old people who usually volunteer weren't going to do it because they were afraid of getting sick. So I worked it. It was the first time I've ever done it. It is incredibly safe. So in Michigan, you don't necessarily have to show your ID, but you have to show your voter registration. And if you don't have either, they can verify it, and they have you sign, and they check your signature right there before they allow you back to vote against what they have on file for you.
Yeah.
Period. And once your voting is done, once your ballot is cast and you put it through the machine, there is no less, I'm choking on the smoke here, by the way, no less than 3 checks. The person running that machine checks it, and 2 other people check and verify it before it gets turned over to the
Oh, you mean the Canadian smoke on the East Coast? Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know what you meant there for a second.
Yeah, it's really bad here.
Yeah, it is. But you're 100% right. I mean, like I said, that's largely what this is. This is, let's see. So this is just in terms of the Michigan voter registration investigation. We're talking about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 FBI Michigan witness interviews, okay, out of 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 files. So 18 of the 25 files are witness interviews. The rest is just mostly briefs, general summaries of the allegation. Let's see here.
Well, and I think if the FBI field office has any credibility whatsoever, they will come out with a statement saying, what happened and these cases were closed or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that they purged a lot of these people that had any integrity.
True.
You see, the FBI has worked very hard to make sure that loyalists were removed, that people who weren't loyalists were removed. So that was part of this whole idea of purging the FBI under Kash Patel, was to make sure that across the board that whoever was working with the FBI, doesn't matter where, that they were willing to fall in line. I don't know. I don't know if there's still people there that would be willing to. I guess we'll see. I mean, like I said, this doesn't seem real to me. But is it enough for them to do what they're going to do? I think it is.
I don't know. I don't think the SAVE Act's going to pass, and I think it's all of this accusations. And let me ask this, too. How the fuck did he bring Obama into this? How did Obama order something burned? What the fuck?
Yeah, that was bizarre. And they didn't get burned, though. Didn't he say they didn't end up getting burned? He said, I guess by our own luck, they didn't actually burn them, and that was unbelievable, really. Why weren't they burned? I mean, they're burned bags, but they didn't burn them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I guess they're not burn bags.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crock of shit, is what it is. They're really reaching. That would be my best description here, is that they're reaching. They're reaching for something that's not there, and I think they're just desperate at this point to try and substantiate what they're about to do next. So
yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of glad that it wasn't where I was expecting something much worse. So I don't really know what, but I was expecting some kind of, militia or martial law type of thing.
No, I think that, but I think that's coming. I really do. I believe that is that.
Yeah.
Again, that wasn't going to happen tonight. It's July, so that wasn't going to happen tonight anyway. This, as I said from the very beginning, is to lay the framework for what they're about to do next, which is what you're talking about. I don't know if they're going to attempt to do this. I don't see really how it's possible, but whatever they do going forward, this is kind of like setting the stage for that. I don't think it's strong though. I think this is mostly going to get laughed out of the building, but does that matter at this point? Does it matter if it's bullshit? Is this all a show for the rest of the world for what's about to come next? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It seems ridiculous to me, but I think they are. I think they're as serious as a heart attack about what they're going to do next. So.
Oh yeah. They don't want to go to jail. And I think if they keep it up, though, we are in danger of ourselves getting liberated from another country.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I almost feel like they also have to worry about how this looks to the rest of the world. Are they just saying, hey, we don't agree with the left, and so we're going to get rid of them, right? Is that, how does that look? Like, it doesn't. Yeah. But what if we claim that, hey, these elections were fraudulent, and what if we can provide that there's witness interviews and testimony that claim these things, and we can just create enough doubt and enough suspicion to say, hey, this is our business, not yours, and we're addressing issues within our own election system. I don't know, but anybody with any serious person is not taking this serious. That's all I know.
Right, and I'm glad that 2 of the networks didn't show it too.
I'm glad they didn't either. But again, like, I also don't think people should bury their heads in the sand about this, because I think this is part of a greater plan. I didn't think everything was going to come out tonight, but I think, like, specifically the Venezuela stuff, I think there's more that's going to come out. I think this is just the beginning. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that he puts Maduro on television to claim that, you know what I mean? That would not shock me at all. At all.
Yeah, I mean, he's capable of almost anything, I think. He's desperate. He's in a corner, and he's desperate.
Yep.
And that's fucking scary.
And a lot of these people understand they will go to prison if this inevitable blue wave happens. They're going to prison. They know it. Mike Johnson said it. We are going to prison if we lose, and they know it. So they're going to do everything to make that not happen. But thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah, take care. I don't think that people should ignore this. I think you should attack the credibility of the claims and say they're not serious, but at the same time, you guys should be ready for what's to come. I really believe this administration is going to interfere in some capacity. So just because these claims are ridiculous, just because I don't think they hold any real weight, doesn't mean I think that the threat is any less serious. Do you know what I mean by that? The White House page is full of, and thank you, Letty Land, White House page is full of could, may, capable, correct. Exactly. That's what we were saying before. They're missing a major piece here. That's why I wouldn't be shocked if they have Maduro on television, like, tell him what happened, and we'll let you free. Tell him. We live in the upside down. Letty, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, folks. I appreciate it. How to get ready? Well, first of all, you should be aware of it, number one, but I think ultimately it could be up to the people. I can't go into specifics on social media, but I think you guys can probably put 2 and 2 together. I think you're going to have ICE agents at polling locations. I think that's a major thing they're going to do. I think this is all tied into that. And people downplay the importance of that. People are terrified of ICE. ICE at your polling locations would be a terrifying reality. If you've never faced off with ICE before, I have many times. They are dressed in full-on combat gear. They look like soldiers. Okay? They have little radios. They got full combat helmets, complete combat gear. Those guys standing outside polling locations with submachine guns is a terrifying reality, and that's one of many things I think they can do. Am I going to tolerate it? No. I will be there with my fucking camera filming their asses, telling them they're going to prison. I don't know. I'm going to do everything within, my ability to try and do it, but I think everybody needs to be aware of it. Hopefully, our state elected officials step up to the plate and do something about it, but I don't have much confidence there. Yes, he talked about voting machines. It's sketchy. Yes, it is. But again, I don't think it's going to be one specific thing. I think he's going to do a bunch of different things. Are you going to Maine? Potentially, but there's not a lot going on in Maine. And there's already people covering it. So, I've seen the protesters. It's not like there's like mass protests breaking out in Maine right now. Unfortunately, the mainstream media does not cover these situations like they should, and it doesn't get the coverage it should. I mean, I wish the people were pouring into the streets, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I need to report one more time, at least because I didn't last week in New Jersey, because ICE left Delaney Hall Detention Center, and that's a major development there. Still, doing their thing, and they're Delaney Hall, so I want to make an appearance there. But if I'm going to make a call tomorrow, and if there's stuff going on in Maine, I just don't like to go places I can't be useful, right? If there's already people there reporting on it, we don't need 9 people reporting on the same subject. It doesn't make any sense, right? That's not useful. So if I can be useful and help, then I'll ask some people down there if I can be useful in any way, I will. But I mean, there's a lot of really good people there already, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I wish if they were pouring into the streets right now, that's more coverage that's needed, right? But I don't think that's what's happening right now. So the last one I saw, there wasn't many people outside there. So we'll see. We'll see. I actually was almost thinking about going to Houston at some point in the next couple weeks, but I don't know. I don't want to, again, guys, remember something, right? Like, I don't have unlimited funds. Like, one of my biggest obstacles is I don't have unlimited money, right? Like, I have what I make off social media. I put a lot, like most of it, back into the community, but I don't have a lot of it, right? Like, because I'm not somebody who makes $1,000 a day on social media debating or fucking regurgitating liberal talking points. I don't make that kind of money, right? But the money I do make, I put a large portion of it outside of my own bills back into different communities to help raise money, to do all sorts of different things. In Minnesota, buy groceries, donate to local organizations, help mobile medics at Delaney Hall to help all these different things. But I don't have unlimited, so I have to pick and choose what I'm able to do. If I go to Maine, that means that if something else happens in the next 2 weeks, I can't do anything because I'll be completely, and I don't even think I could fly to Maine. Like, I would have to drive because I legitimately don't think that I have enough. I looked at the flights and they were expensive as hell, and I don't think I have enough to do that, so I would have to drive. Not saying I'm not going to go. Well, we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. If there's something happening this weekend, if something serious happens, I probably will do it. But it's just, that's why it's so important, if you do support me, to support, because obviously you guys know a lot of it goes right back into the community. I'm not trying to get rich off activism or social media. You guys have seen just even a part of what I've put back in there into these communities, and personally on camera and off camera, because I don't feel the need to celebrate every time I help somebody, but have put a large majority of it, especially this year, more money back into these communities than I've ever done, than I ever have. So All right, folks. Take care. Have a wonderful night. This is concerning, but at the same time, there's no real evidence of anything here, in my opinion. It just seems like a bunch of nonsense, and that's all there is to it. So, hey, Penny, I appreciate you, Penny. Thank you so much, Penny. I appreciate you, Penny. Later, Illusion. Take care, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Anxiety, Illusion, Tracy ML1, Manny, Glitter Goddess, Sniff, Clara, Mia G, Meme, Blossoms, Nikki, Dope, Michelle, Brown Eyed Girl, Tracy, Kathy. So I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful night. Dory, Freddie, Cindy, appreciate you. Spades, thank you. Mary, appreciate you. And I will see you guys later. Thank you, Penny. I appreciate it. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. If I'm probably going to be traveling this weekend, I just don't know if it's going to be New Jersey or Maine. So you'll find out one or the other. But I'm also trying to make sure that I still can maintain my live streams too. So I'm trying to do both. So either way, we're going to be live in the morning, and I'm sure we'll be going over this more. And I'm sure there'll be people in there, Republicans, excited, thinking that they have some kind of win, which they don't. And I'm going to spend the next hour going through these files and trying to see if there's anything at all that I need to know outside of, witness statements, which are largely redacted. So, yeah, get your burn bags. Take care, everybody. See you tomorrow.